Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Heike and you're watching Stone Cold Coffee Crafts. Today is Tuesday, July the 7th and this is my nearly daily crafty chat. I'm waiting for my little assistant to show up. She has been following me around like a shadow while I was collecting all the things to show to you, and I must have lost her on the last few meters. She's probably staring at her sister again. So don't know about you, usually my cell phone is what wakes me in the morning. I use it as an alarm clock. Today my wake-up call was a little bit different. Hey baby, there you are. Today my alarm clock was two furry beasts dropping my watering can for my plants first thing in the morning on the living room floor. So I started the day out with mopping the floor. If that isn't the perfect beginning to second Monday of the week, I don't know what is. Honey Bunch, can we maybe remove your giant butt from the frame? Thank you. Yes, I said it's a giant butt. I'm sorry. It's very furry and fluffy. You are right. So, to get things started, let's start off with diamond painting, and we're going to expose this section of glue for a moment. She's not going to step on it. Don't worry, she's usually pretty good, and if not, I'm going to catch her before she actually steps on it. Like now. So, as you can see, I did what I said I would do yesterday, and I finished another section on the orca. I think he's coming out fabulous. What do you think? I think he's so gorgeously shaded. I like especially his eye, which doesn't look like much when you look at it from close up, but when you take him far away, like you see right now through the camera, that's an illusion of being much further away than you actually are. I think it comes out pretty good, and I can't wait to see him finished. I mean, he is the main character of this painting, since he is the friend of the Maidens. But yeah, he's turning out so good. I'm so happy with him. I don't know if it's something about me, but I often have the feeling that these older Mandie Manzano paintings Diamond Art Club did come out somewhat better than the newer ones. Maybe that's just because I'm still a bit tainted by Mama Knows Best. My version I had of it, which is no longer available and has been recharted. But I feel like the older paintings had better transition between the shades. Not entirely sure. But anyway, as you can see, today is going to be working on the mermaid. And I guess we will find out if I have enough of the 963, was it? 963? Yes, 963 color to complete her without diving into my stash, because as I said yesterday, I changed her arm, and she's lying on my hand right now, her arm and her face up, and used colors that were actually not sharded there because I didn't want to make her face and her arm completely white. So let's see. I guess I will have enough, but we will see. Yeah. And that's basically the diamond painting plan for the day. I'm going to finish this one section. I don't plan to do more on this. As I've mentioned before, I'm going to stretch this painting out a little bit further than I would usually do, because I want to split my time a little bit more equally between all three crafts. And I have 31 days of diamond painting in the month, and I have only split this painting up in 18 sections anyway, so I probably will pull out something else once the month further progresses. We will see. I have not decided yet if I'm going to work on something I can show you, or if I'm going to work on one of my customs paintings, because I've not worked on any of the customs in a long time, and I have mentioned it plenty of times, the customs are not are not something I am going to show on this channel, unless they are custom paintings of one of my pets, which they are not. So I probably should get one of those just to show you which shops I prefer for customs and why, even though I don't use one of them anymore, and we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, so yeah, that's the plan for today. I am pretty sure I won't have any issues with fulfilling that, because these sections actually have been pretty smooth sailing. I'm taking about 2 hours per section if they are that size. It might have been also because there is not a lot of confetti happening. As far as in, I have 36 shades of colors in this painting, but I don't have any sections where all of them in there. Sometimes you have these sections that are very, very, very colorful, and so far this painting has not been. I mean, you can see this section here yesterday was pretty much all blue, gray, and white, and none of the browns, none of the greens, and so on. Today will be, I think, a bit more colorful because she has a few more shades in her, but it's not too bad. I mean, these sections go pretty quick. Also, of course, because I have been using my 3-placer for this. And looking in the camera, I think I still am doing pretty good. It's not really visible so far. Usually when you use a multi-placer, you can quite often see the lines between the, in my case, would be 3 drills, 3 drill, 3 drill, and if you put them down, you usually see the line where you didn't align them perfectly. I think I have managed to do this pretty well so far. I don't see any lines, and as you know, I'm very, very picky about that. It's not something you have to be or to do, but I am like that, so that's just something people have to live with, I guess. We all have our little idiosyncrasies, don't we? So anyway, our assistant has left us. I think we are too boring for her. Let's roll that up a little bit and move on to stitching. Sorry, Lola, didn't mean to interrupt you. And also, stitching is not going to surprise you. I opened the frame up a little bit so I can basically show you the whole thing. This is Santa's Trip by Barbara Anna. It's her Christmas mystery SAL. She has started with Creative Poppies. I think Creative Poppy is her default shop to release her patterns, which is actually kind of nice because Creative Poppy sells them as PDFs, so you don't have to wait for a paper chart. And I personally prefer PDF because I can blow them as big on my computer as I need to. And I would say 99% of the time I am stitching at my desk in my craft room / office using my floor stand, so that means I have my computer monitor right next to my stitching. That's another reason why I prefer PDFs, I think. So you can pretty much see what I did yesterday. I only completed a bit more of the green. I spent about 2 hours on this. I spent most of my crafty time yesterday knitting, and I have a feeling that might be the case today as well, because I really want to finish the body of the shawl by Wednesday, so I can try and tackle this. Ugh, slipped off. Using the knob of my. I have an IKEA Expedit here, and I have a few drawers on there, and I'm using the knob of the drawer to put the frame on, so I don't have to hold it with 2 hands. But it's slippery. What was I saying? I'm trying to catch up so I can tackle the side panels together with Rachel and see if we can figure out what is confusing and what is just us being intimidated by it. So that's why I didn't do too much on the frame yesterday. I think I had about 2 hours in me left. And then I was tired and went to bed and didn't sleep. So that went perfectly. Yes, Nellie. I don't know, since the watering can fell on the floor, she has been all over the place. I think the girls had a fight and then that happened. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, so I'm not too sad about it because, like I said, I enjoy stitching this border very much, and I like drawing it out a little bit, although I really want to get back to the Frosty Forest and would like to spend some quality time on that, so I probably shouldn't stretch this out too much, because on the 15th the next square will drop and I will be back on this one again. Anyways, so this is the stitching I did. This is what you are going to see for the next few days. I'm not going to switch it up until it's done, and once the frame is done I have to do the square. The square is thankfully not too big. It's the frame, the red outline frame is 40 by 40 stitches, so it's not super big. I expect to have this done pretty quickly. Once I get to start on it. Though I have to have a closer look and see if I want to add beads in there somewhere, and I have to check and select those before I start. Alright, so that's it for stitching. And then we have knitting, and the cat is still on the floor, so I wonder if I can actually show you knitting today without being stressed out about triggering the cat. Wouldn't that be awesome? So, I have knit on this yesterday for hours. And this is now on row 229. This body part has a total of 246 rows. So I knit 9 rows yesterday. That's also the plan for today. 9 more rows, and the rest of it on Wednesday. And starting Thursday I can try and work on those 2 side panels here. So I'm sorry I can't show you this whole thing because it's way too big now to do so. Put my yarn over here and straightening this edge out so you can see how much 9 rows actually was. Doesn't look like a lot, does it? But it was hours and hours of knitting. Of course, I also messed up for the first time since I have started this and started to knit one of the eyelet rows just like a knit row. So I had to go back, I think 40 stitches or so, which was not fun at all. I wonder why this comes out so blue though. This is really, the yarn is called Loki, and the name is really fitting because it's this green that Loki has in his armor in the movies. I'm kind of sad that this never shows up on camera like that, but I guess you can see on my skin how much this blows out today. Maybe I should try and adjust the color. So anyway, right now I think I am on track to finish this by tomorrow night. And yeah, keep your fingers crossed that I actually managed that, because I'm so bored with the center part. I really want to be tortured by the side panels right now. And I have a feeling we are going to figure this out much quicker than we think right now. I am very positive about that. So I'm nearly there, Rachel, nearly there. Yesterday also wasn't as hot and humid here, and knitting with the fluff wasn't that much of a pain, so that was nice. I have to say the weekend was this type of weather where actually just sitting and breathing makes you sweat. So that was probably the reason why knitting with this was so annoying. Just a theory. So, plans and yarn. Mrs. Prepared for Everything has, of course, not pulled up. No, I have not. So let me real quick get into my favorites and pull up the pattern, which hopefully is in here. Yes, it is. So yesterday I showed you a project with a pretty high contrast yarn, and I thought I would do that again for today because I have another project that caught my eyes, but I did have nothing to do it with, especially because the pattern designer pretty much said, please don't use anything with speckles or a strong variegation or anything. Use tonals or it will distract from the beautiful lace of the thing. And I kind of agree. And she, for her model knit, shows a pretty high contrast. So she went with a light gray, and I like that, so I did that as well. And then she used a peachy pink, which is not my color at all. It does not suit me. Makes me look pretty horrible, actually. So I went with this, and it comes across very purple. It is a very muted berry pink, actually, so it's not as purple as you see right now. It's more on the pinkish side, as you can see once again from Hedgerow Yarns. This shop is easily one of my favorite shops. She only ever has a very small supply because I think I said it before, she pretty much dyes yarn just for fun in her kitchen, but she has a real hand for that. So the gray one is not dyed. This is how this yarn comes. This is the natural color. That's also the reason why this color looks so muted, because this is the base yarn for it, and this is dyed. Hi, honey bunch. So this is called Bordeaux. I guess that gives you also a hint of the, I think this looks a bit better now, a hint of the true color. And it's my favorite base of hers, which is the luxury alpaca, which is 70%, I think it is a bit blown out, 70% baby alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. It's very soft. You are softer, but it's very soft. And it's 400 meters per 100 gram, which is exactly what I need. And you're probably saying, girl, show us the pattern. No kneading on the shawl. Down. Come. I know, you love the shawl, but we are not going to knead on it. Quickly rescuing my shawl for a moment here. I get that you want to knead on soft stuff, but not that one, please. I'm going to knit you your own blanket, promise. You are going to get it. All right, so the pattern I've chosen is, and the picture should go up now, Wine Pops by Kirsten Kapoor. And yes, it's another one of those ambitious looking ones. I have a feeling this isn't as complicated as it looks. I think she also states that there aren't any super complicated stitches in there. Let's check. What does she say? Does she say anything? No, she doesn't say anything. But this pretty much looks to me like a lot of yarn overs and stuff. Maybe I'm mistaken. I will see. It is not something I will start anytime soon. I am going to slowly graduate from the super simple patterns to a bit more complicated to whenever I'm going to tackle something that looks really, really complicated to me. But that is the pattern I've chosen for this yarn, and I think it's going to turn out beautiful once it's done. What do you think? So for the first time, I actually got something with my Hedgerow yarn order I have not gotten before. She has given me a mini skein of this. It's a super beautiful juicy green yarn. It comes off a bit darker and more muted as it is actually. And I am kind of excited. This is a 20-gram skein of yarn, which I've gotten as a gift. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. She released, that was my pen. She releases these mini skein sets from time to time. I think she's currently on set number 71. And they are usually super fun. I try not to buy more because I already have a lot from Ruby and Rose Design. And I also plan to get a few advent calendars. I have purchased one so far from a shop in the Netherlands. And yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be a very pastel one. So they offer, I'm going to link the shop below if you're interested. I don't know if they ship to the US, frankly, but they ship within Europe. And they offer multiple themes for their advent calendar. So you can choose between, I think it was like 4 or 5 different themes. And I chose the sweet one, which was very pastel-y, rainbowy, so not very Christmassy. But I thought it would be a nice contrast to what will probably be the other advent calendars I'm thinking about, and one of which I didn't even know would exist because she only announced that, I think, yesterday, day before yesterday. Hedgerow Yarns is going to have one, and I am going to make sure that I'll get one of those because favorite company. It's only going to be a 10-gram advent calendar, so usually most shops give you the option to choose between do you want 10 or 20 grams. Some even have 50 gram, and then usually when you choose 10 or 20, you probably will get 25 in total, or you can choose between 12 and 25. So some shops have a lot of options to choose from. And then oftentimes there is the option to add on a full skein of yarn for Christmas Day, or sometimes you can choose 50 grams, and then you usually have like, what are you doing? Then you're usually having like 12 or sometimes 6 packages to open. It depends. So this one, it seems, is going to be 25 10-gram and no option to add on anything, which is fine. I chose the one from the Netherlands also as a 25 20 grams without adding on extra yarn. I thought I wouldn't need that, especially because it was not super Christmas themed. So Kat, you have pretty much pushed that thing under the table. Oh, great. She pushed my scroll frame parts around, the stuff I need to put the frame back on the floor stand. And the third one I am thinking about getting is the one from Craft House Magic, I think is the name of her shop, though I have not tested her yarn yet. Usually I like to test, but I have purchased the one from the Netherlands blind as well. I just thought, well, let's go for it. No risk, no fun. And yes, I'm totally going overboard with this, but I love advent calendars. They're just, they awaken the little kid inside of me. And I haven't gotten a full advent calendar in a decade and a half, I guess. At least. Probably longer. I'm trying to remember. I got one once while I was still living in Cologne, so that must have been 15 years ago. Friends made it for me. And I'm exchanging advent calendars with a crafty friend of mine every year, but we do this thing where you open a package on each Advent Sunday, on St. Nicholas Day, and on Christmas Eve. So it's usually 6 packages. And not the full 24 or 25. Here in Germany it would be 24, because Christmas pretty much ends on Christmas Eve for us. Thing, so it would be nice to have things to open up. So if you know of any stitchy advent calendars, let me know. I don't want to blow all the money for yarn if then suddenly something interesting stitchy pops up. And yes, the only reason I'm doing multiple is because they are coming out now already, and I can buy one and not have to buy them all at once right before Christmas, because that would not be possible. But I've purchased the one from the Netherlands, I think in April. So it's very easy to go overboard because you can stretch it pretty much out all year. I think the first listings on Etsy for yarn advent calendars appeared in January. So it's a long time. And there are a lot of good ones I have seen, but sadly a lot of them are from the US, and I don't want to risk it. As you can imagine, they are pretty spendy to begin with, because if you add it all up, you are purchasing several skeins of yarn, which is always spendy with hand-dyed yarn, and then you're purchasing them in these little skeins, which are extra work, and so they are generally a little more expensive than just a full skein of one color, and there's often extra in there like stitch markers and other little goodies, so the price can easily rack up pretty high very quickly, and then you have to add the shipping. So I have seen pretty much everything from the US from $15 to $40 for shipping for an advent calendar. And yeah, then you have to, because this is absolutely not going to slip through here in Germany. That it might in other countries, but Germany is pretty spot on in recent years at picking stuff out and charging you the VAT. It will be picked out, and if you are above a certain value, you will not only have to pay the VAT, you also have to pay true custom fees. So when I'm talking about paying custom fees, it's usually just the equivalent to what I would pay for VAT if I purchased something here. So until end of June, it would have been 19%. Due to a certain zombie apocalypse, the German government has decided to lower this VAT for the next 6 months. So right now it's going to be 16%. But if you go above the value of 150 euro, and that includes goodies and shipping, then you have to pay whatever you are getting for. You have to pay an extra customs fee. So this can be anything from nothing, depending on what is in the package, to I think some of the highest rates range between 8 and 10 or maybe even more percent. I think yarn is not as bad. It should be in the lower percentages, but still, if you pay 19% on top of that, or 16% this year, and then this, it can easily become twice as expensive as getting an advent calendar from a European dyer. So that's what I have decided to do. I'm sticking with a European this year, which has not been easy, let me tell you, because Ruby and Roses is doing one, and I love her yarn. The way she dyes her yarn is so spot on to what I like, so I'm always kind of sad that I can't get more of her stuff. Oh, yeah. Humans, stop talking. But anyway, long story long, I'm going to let you go. I am rambling and clearly drawing this out, which is not a good idea because I have to edit it as well. Jeez, and words don't want to come out anymore anyway. So I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I think I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. I don't see any reason why not, but we will see. All right, guys. Bye-bye.